So, Johnny Tudor, this week we're going to talk about the sad passing of a great comedian, Jackie Mason. Now, you met him. Where did you meet him?
Oh, Jackie Mason. Yeah, I met him in Cardiff, funny enough.
In Cardiff?
Yeah, because a friend of mine, Ted Rogers, remember Ted Rogers, 321?
321?
Well, Ted was a big friend and because Ted was always into American humor and stuff, and I think he'd met him when he was in America. Ted went to America working with Bing Crosby.
Right.
And he met him and he became a big friend of his. So when he came over here, Dave Thomas, who was Ted Rogers' driver, decided he was asked to drive Jackie Mason, okay? So Dave rings me and he says, John, do us a favor. I said, what? He said, my car's a bit knackered. He said, I don't want to pick him up in this junk. You've got a decent car. Will you pick him up from the station? Because he was appearing at the St. David's Hall.
Right.
Jackie Mason, not Ted Rogers. So I said, yeah, I'll pick him up. Don't worry about it. So I pick him up. And I take him, he was booked into the Marriott. So I pick him up. I said, I'll take you to the hotel. So he gets there, he says, is this hotel for a man like me? He said, 5 stars, 3 stars, 4 stars. I said, well, there's a 5-star down the bay if you want to move. No, it's okay, I'll stay here. It's okay. So that was it. He stayed there. Then I took him over to the St. David's Hall for his rehearsal. And I was with him all day, you know. And I went to see the show, which was fantastic. I mean, he was so funny. I mean, it's all this observation humor. Like he did a thing about phones. You know, he said, you got this guy, I got a phone. If I got a deal, I can speak to my aunt in Nebraska for 2 cents on the dollar. It's got to be on a Thursday and up at 3. And I got, he said, then you got the guy in the restaurant. He's looking for he can't get a signal. Where's he get the signal? Next to the payphone. So he's doing all that stuff. See? Anyway, I watched this show. I had a great time. Took him back to the Marriott. So he likes to sit and watch people. So he told me he never goes to bed. I said, what do you do then? He says, I go to sleep in the chair. I take my suit off. I have a shower. I put my suit back on. I go, well, I never sleep in the bed. I said, okay. He was eccentric. So we're sitting in the foyer of the Marriott. And it's about night, well, it must have been nearly midnight because he'd done his show. And a bunch of girls came in from West Wales, all speaking Welsh. Right. And they recognized me from Welsh television. Shemai Johnson, my brother, hey, when I see on the television. See? So I said, these girls, John, who are these girls? They said, they know me from television. They know you from television? They didn't know the LE was. They knew I was. So, well, anyway, that was by the by. So he's watching all these people. Then he says to me, John, take me around Cardiff. I said, it's 12:30 at night. I want to see this place. What's it like? So I put him in the car. Now we're driving around. And you know what the weekend's like in Cardiff. There's girls falling out of clubs with hardly clothes. Gee, look at all this humanity. So anyway, I'm driving now through Riverside. I said, this is Riverside, where my granny was brought up. I said, and it was the Jewish quarter. I said, we're not Jewish, but there was lots of Jews and Irish in this. He said, don't tell me the Jews moved out, the Irish stayed there, ruined the place, and what's going on? I said, well, that's something like it. I said, so then we're up past the castle. What's that, John? I said, it's Cardiff Castle. How old is it? I said, well, it's debatable. I said, if you look at the little bit at the bottom, that's a bit of Roman wall. So I suppose it's 2,000 years ago. 2,000 years? My God, what's going on? I said, but the other bit, I said, it's, the keep, I think, is Norman. I said, and the rest of it is a Victorian folly. I said, so you take your pick. So he was very interested in all this. So then we go back to the hotel, and he says, I'm going to bed now, John. Well, I'm going to sleep in the chair. I'll see you tomorrow. So Dave, now the driver, rings me up. He says, let's take him for something to eat. I said, where are you going to take him? He said, I'll take him to the Fairwater Conservative Club. Because he was a member, see? It's a nice club, as it happens.
Yeah.
But anyway, you thought he'd just say, we'll take him to some flash restaurant. So we go to this, and he orders lunch, because it was a Sunday lunch, see? He ordered the lunch. He's got a little, like a side plate with about 6 peas on it and half a potato. I said, what's that? I can't eat no more of that, John. I look at food, I put on 10 pounds. He wouldn't eat any more than that. And he called me, what did he call me? Oh, the tap dancing guy. This is the tap dancing guy. And that's how I met him. And he was just like a real character, but very eccentric.
It's funny because you're not the only Welsh comic to have spent some time with Jackie Mason. Our dear friend Mike Doyle also met him at the Royal Variety Command performance. He can't be with us today, but he has sent us this little video with a story about how he met Jackie Mason and how he went out for dinner with him as well.
Hey, hi Mal. Hi Johnny. I'm in the car. Sorry I can't be with you for the podcast. Yeah, I'm out and about doing a few things, but I've just pulled over because I wanted to talk to you about the brilliant comedian, Jewish comedian, Jackie Mason, who recently died very sadly, I think at the age of about 92, I think. Yeah, well, I met him, I worked with him, I was very lucky. It was on the Royal Variety Performance and he was on the bill. And a very, very strange character, you know, and many people didn't know quite what to say to him, you know, because he came across quite grumpy, you know, and he had this voice and... Is everything all right then, Mr. Mason? Well, maybe it is for you, but not for me. I don't know. But then, are you interested in my problems? You want to talk to him about your problems? It's entirely up to you what you want to do, and this and that. He had this way about the way he spoke, which I found absolutely hilarious. Anyway, I got to talk to him because he was sitting on what I thought was an uncomfortable chair, and I knew that there was some more comfortable chairs around the corner, as it were, in a put-up green room for the Royal Variety Performance. I went up to him and said, "Oh, Mr. Mason," I said, "Hello, my name is Mike Doyle." And I says, "Just wanted to let you know that there is some far comfier seats over in the green room." And he said, "Well, maybe there is seats in the green room, they'll be far comfier. But he says, there is a draft there," he says, "but if I move from this seat that is very hard, but at least the climate is perfect for me. But if I move to this comfortable seat, maybe then I'll get a draft and I won't be happy with that. So what do I do? Now you make me make a decision on whether to have this seat or that seat." I found it hilarious. No matter what you said to him, it was this or that or this or that. Okay, for you, for me, for you. Well, anyway, I did get to speak to him and I told him about West Wales, which he found fascinating. And I told him about a lot of the West Wales humour, you know, and I was saying things like, "Oh, people from Cardiganshire, they breathe in, they never breathe out again," right? And he found it funny. And then when I told him the joke about people from Cardiganshire, when they wake up in the morning, they do this. I said, "Why?" "Because it's free." Well, he didn't laugh at that because he said to me, "Yes, that's one of the jokes that I have written myself. I made that joke up. That's a joke." And I thought, well, that's travelled from New York or wherever across to the UK, landed on my doorstep, and I was using it as a cardigan joke. After the was on the Palladium. Sorry, it was not. This was not at the London Palladium. After the Royal Variety Performance at the Victoria Palace, it was in London, he invited me to dinner and we went to Joe Allen's in Covent Garden. He didn't bother with any of the big agents and the managers and the producers, and he just took me to Joe Allen's, and I'll never forget him for that. I'll never forget that I actually went out to dinner with the great Jackie Mason. Have a great show, boys, and keep up the good work. It's fantastic what you're doing, and I'm a big fan of both you, Mel, and you, Johnny. You know that. Have a good one. Bye.
There we are. So it shows that he was consistent. He was a rabbi. I think he trained to be a rabbi.
He was. Yeah, he trained to be a rabbi. I think his father was. Well, they were. You know, they were like, what can I say? They were immigrants. The parents were immigrants.
Yeah.
From Belarus.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was brought up in New York's East Side, I suppose, where all the Jews were. And he always makes fun of the Jews because he's a Jew, so he can get away with it.
Yeah, yeah.
So he's like, he does this wonderful thing, the difference between Jews and Gentiles. He says, you know, he said, Gentile goes into a shop, goes into a restaurant. He says, well, how long is it going to be? 10 days? Okay, I'll sit here. 3 bellies full, said, no problem. The Jew walks in like he's a partner. My table. It's so funny though, because the Jews are screaming, laughing because they can see themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, this is a table for a man like me. It's too near the band. It's too loud. It moves you over there. No, there's a draft for doing.
Draft. That's just like Mike Doyle. Michael Doyle is draft.
That's what we like. I think the Jewish people have always made Jewish jokes because it's very funny, but they can see themselves. They can see they can see that it's funny. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I remember a Jewish friend of mine, and he told me this joke. It makes me laugh. He said, there's two Jewish big game hunters. They're walking through the jungle, and all of a sudden, this lion leapt on his back. He says, "Amy, what's on my back?" He said, "What am I, a furrier?" But that's a Jewish joke. You could only be a Jewish joke.
Yeah, will we ever see his like again? You know, will it ever happen again?
I mean, did you ever see his full show, The World According to Me?
No.
Because what happened? He told me this story himself. He was rising to be a big star back in the 50s, and then he did a show and he slagged off Sinatra, I think. And he said Sinatra actually shot at me, not personally, but one of his guys actually shot through the window trying to kill him.
My gosh.
He says, and also he blanked all my work. I couldn't get any work. Because once Sinatra said, you don't work,
Yeah,
okay?
Yeah.
And he said he had to do all the condominiums down in where is it,
Florida.
Miami?
Yeah.
All the joints, really. And he'd gone back to like doing the working men's clubs for him, I suppose.
Yeah.
And then he wrote this song, this show, The World According to Me. And the Jewish people got behind him and they put it on Broadway, and it was a smash.
Yeah.
And then from there on, he just went on and did it. But it was very funny, very funny.
All we need now is for the Welsh people to get behind me and you, Johnny.
Well,
we'll be back on top.
He'll be the Mal&Johnny Show on tour.
Well, isn't that great, Jackie Mason? So the passing of a great comedian, and really drawing on his heritage as well to make all those jokes and those observations. That observational humour that works anywhere in the world.
That's right. Because if you think of it, he never told jokes, and he was modern in his way. Because now, people like the modern comedians today, they're all doing observational stuff. Mm. But in his day, people were doing the one-liners about their mother-in-law. You know what I mean?
Yes, yeah.
But he did observation about people, and people, especially the Jewish people.
Yeah.
But he used to pick on someone in the audience as well. I can't remember exactly what it was, but he'd say, it could be some guy. There's a bit of a crook, like this guy in the front here, and he'd just pass over it. You know what I mean? But he was very, very funny. Very funny, but an oddball, very eccentric. I mean, Dave told me a lovely story the other day. He said he always had a safe in his house, in his flat, because he lived next door to his wife. His wife lived in a different flat. See, I think he had one apartment, she had the one across the hall, and I think it was like more of a marriage of convenience, really. But anyway, she was his manager, and he had this safe, and she said, "Do you know how much you got in your safe?" He said, "I don't know, about $7,000. I don't know. I haven't looked." She said, "No, you got $160,000 in your safe." "Oh my God!" He said, "I put it in the bank. I put it back in the." And what it was, he hadn't told her, but he was saving his money up to buy some condominium down in Florida for himself, and he wasn't going to tell her. And she stuck it in the bank, so she stole his money. Oh, God.
Hey, is Dave still well? Is he still fitting well?
Dave is, well, he's not too well. He rang me the other day. He's a real character, Dave. He's not tech savvy. Right? It'd be great to get on, actually.
Yeah.
Because he drove him about in America as well,
Oh, my gosh.
And he used to drive him about. He got in with him because of Ted Rogers, because Ted was his, big friend of his. And then he met him through Ted, and then he ended up as his driver.
Wow, well, maybe we should try
when I'm speaking to Dave next, I'll ask him if he can get any of his mates, because he's got loads of mates, to put him on the Zoom, and then perhaps we can do a thing with him.
Fantastic.
Because Dave's a real character. Dave knows everything.
Well, that sounds...
I got a call not long ago from Jimmy Tarbuck, and it was, "John, what? Dave's told me that to ring you up to see how you are." They're all these drivers, they're all characters. Yeah. I know 3 of them, and they're all called Dave. I got Dave 1, Dave 2, and Dave 3 on my phone.
Oh, that's brilliant. Well, we should thank our thanks to Mike Doyle for his story about Jackie Mason, and it's goodbye from him,
and it's goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from all of us.
See you soon.
See you later, Mal.
Bye bye.
Ta-da.